Welcome back into another episode of Red Zone Talk. Episode 15, I'm Owen Burke, joined alongside by my dashing co host, Timothy Hunt, rocking the new
Yeah,
mustache.
new look here. I shaved it on Sunday, so we're 4 days post
It's
of,
a pretty good growth in 4 days, I'd say.
um, yeah. So for those of you who don't know, we have a mutual friend, is what I'll call him, and for 3 years,
Yeah,
no, he's my friend.
he is.
Yeah, Uh, for 3 years, we've bet on Syracuse football versus Miami football's record. Loser has to shave their beard. One year, it was a draw. Last year, Miami had a worse record than Syracuse football. Unfortunately, this year, Syracuse football finished at a whopping 6-6, and Miami football was 7-5. So I'm
I think
surprised.
it's so dope.
Yeah,
I love that, honestly. I think it's such a cool fucking thing because I don't have the stones to do it. Like, I could, I'm like, I can't shave. I'm not going to do it.
yeah. Crazy part is my wife and I have been together. We've been married for 2, together for 5, and she's never ever seen me without a beard. So
Yeah, Caitlin and I have been. We just hit our 5 year anniversary together, and she's never seen me with a clean shaven face either. So
yeah,
with you on that boat. I'm gonna run that train for a while.
definitely. But don't worry, it's fine. Syracuse finally, they didn't finally. I didn't want them to fire Dino Barbers. I thought Dino was fine, but Dino's gone. They brought in Fran Brown. He's the D back coach for Georgia. So
Oh, okay.
he's one of he was on. I was kind of surprised they ended up going with him. I thought they were going to hire the guy from Holy Cross, but uh, he's a New Jersey guy, so he's a Northeast guy, which is good for recruiting. We Syracuse's football base is all New Jersey kids, so
Hey, I mean, you brought in a guy with Georgia pedigree. I think that's pretty damn good, especially how they've been the last 3 years. Like,
I traditionally don't love not hiring guys who are not coordinators. That's just
fair.
a personal opinion of mine, but we'll see how this goes. But I'm hopeful for Syracuse football. It's it's tough sledding, right? Like I'm not gonna lie, like
It
I
is
have
what it is.
I have realistic expectations. If that
Yeah,
franchise could win 8 games a year, I'd be ecstatic.
it's a basketball school.
It is. It's a
Like,
basketball school. I mean, we're in the Northeast. Not a big football pool up in the up
yeah,
north.
no one wants to play in the weather.
Yeah, no, no one wants to live in that weather. Let me tell you what.
Fair, very true.
Right now, going to the dome on days like today, not very fun. Would not
I
be interested in doing that as a 19-year-old. That would not be fun.
Yeah. Hey, you want to come practice in this?
Yeah,
No. No,
Sy-
I don't.
Syracuse is built on the side of a hill, like literally like like the dome is like up on top of a hill.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so if you park, you have to like walk up a hill 3 blocks in cold, miserable weather.
In the
So
snow, both
in the
ways.
snow, yeah, yeah. And just remember that when they fill up that dome for basketball games, right? Like it
That's
is fucking
impressive.
miserable weather, like miserable conditions to get there. Like it's not a fun walk.
Not a destination.
When I was a kid, you used to be able to take a train that like got you pretty close by. The train doesn't. I don't think they run the train anymore. I could be
Mm,
wrong, but
heartbreaking.
yeah, you used to be able to park like in a decent spot and then take the train and not have to walk as far. I don't think that exists anymore, but so Dan Mullen, we almost hired Dan. Dan Mullen was supposedly in the running, and then he wasn't. So
That'd have been a good hire, but
I thought that would have been an incredible
that'd
hire.
have been a
But
damn good hire. But yeah, I think bringing in a guy from Georgia, they've lost one game in the last 3 years. I think even if he hadn't been a coordinator, I mean, that's a winning pedigree does have to mean something at the end of the day.
it was interesting. Like a lot of the debate is like, do you bring in a guy that if he has any success, he's going to leave, right? And uh, I don't know if you know, like that has happened for Syracuse quite like a decent, not a decent amount, a couple of times where Doug Marone is a prime example.
Yep.
He turned that program around. Like he had a 500 record, but like he took over a team that won like 2 games the year before. He got him bowl eligible. He won 6. He went 6-6, and then he had one like 10-win season, and then next thing you know, he's coaching the NFL.
Yep.
So
I just can't wait for the day where you keel over from a heart attack because Joe Brady is the head coach of Syracuse football.
that would be a dream.
That's I know that's the dream for you right there.
I
But
listen.
he might be the OC in Buffalo for a while. Shit.
I was really hopeful that we were going to hire the temporary coach for Michigan, and then Mike Hart, who, if you don't know who Mike Hart is, it's a deep cut. He's the running back coach for Michigan. He is. I don't know if he still is. He probably is Michigan's all-time rushing leader.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not a very good. He didn't have a very successful career in the NFL. He was drafted by the Colts in like the 7th round. I'd love for him to come back and coach. He's a Syracuse kid. He went to Onondaga High School, which is right in Syracuse. So,
Hell yeah.
like someone like him, like if they ever hired him, that's the exact person you need to hire. Like a kid who went to high school in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Like that'd just be perfect.
Hopefully, have a chance of holding on to him even when they start winning.
Yeah, like a guy like that might stay because that's where he grew up. That's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he grew up like 20 minutes from the dome. So
Hell fucking yeah.
I think that would be fun. But
Everybody's sitting here and like, why the fuck am I listening to 5 minutes of Syracuse football right now?
Yeah, I know. I was like, we spent way too much time on that.
He put the hoodie on. All right, we have to talk about it. All right, I'll spare you from the WrestleMania talk, and we'll talk some NFL football. All right.
Yeah.
Episode 15. We've got some great. I like my trivia today. We'll see how it goes. I don't think it's a super difficult one, but it's an all-time thing, so we'll see. Before we get there, make sure you guys are following us on all the social medias. Tim's got the link tree set up on our Instagram. Red Zone Talk on Instagram, correct?
Yeah, Red Zone Talk on Instagram. Red
Zone Talk
Pod on YouTube. And then the TikTok's still just fucked up. So
yeah, we might get the TikTok figured out.
Eventually.
I'm not gonna even promise that at this point. We've been promising it for weeks and it's still fucked up. So
it's TikTok's fault at this point. Like,
yeah.
The fact you can't change if you fail to change the username, you can't change it again for like 30 days is just asinine in my opinion.
Just about as bad as Fortnite with my default Fortnite name I have.
What is it? Doug?
It's like Peter Campbell.
Peter Campbell.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias, right? Shout out to the show if you want to. We appreciate any type of word of mouth or post that we can get anywhere. With that being said, part 1 of episode 15, I guess, is the correct title.
Yeah.
You ready to do some trivia?
Let's jump into it, man.
All right. So, now this is the first time that I kind of opened this one up since we've went to the list where it's 10 names. I went ahead and took the top 14 down and wrote them all down. Obviously, I'd like to max you at 10. I don't want to give you 140 points possible. It feels a little cheesy. Yeah. But I'll give you the top 14 to pick from if you can give me 10 names. We're looking at the all-time NFL tackler list. Just tackles. Just some baseline info for you. Cool. Tackles were not recorded at all as a stat until 1994.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, which is insane, right? That's nuts. They're just like, meh. Like the statisticians were just like, let's do offensive stuff for the first 40 years. They just didn't pay attention to who tackled anybody. So obviously, guys,
a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, guys like Lawrence Taylor would probably be number 1, number 5 on this list, whatever. The earliest player drafted here was drafted in 1990. And then it was like one guy in 95, 2 guys in 96. Everyone else was drafted after that. So there's only one guy that was drafted before tackles were even recorded. Okay. I think that's all I'm going to give you to start.
3 strikes, 2 hints.
3 strikes, 2 hints per usual. Let her rip, buddy.
Ray Lewis has to, that's the name that immediately comes to my mind. Yeah, number 1. That's
numero uno, sir. He is the all-time tackle leader. I saw a TikTok the other day. It was I watched every Lawrence Taylor game, and he definitely leads. I was like, there's no fucking way you said I watched every game of Lawrence Taylor's and counted the tackles. Yeah. But would not surprise me if he would be eventually number 1 on this list. But the way it is listed, Pro Football Focus or Pro Football Reference.
Yeah.
Ray Lewis is number 1 on the tackle list. 1,568 tackles in his career.
It's hard for me because I think modern linebackers, a lot of the guys just didn't play for a long time.
Fair.
Which is just super wild. Like Patrick Willis didn't have no way he makes this list just because he played for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I think he had a 10-year career if I remember right, which isn't that long.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, was it that? It was longer than I remember it.
No. It was 7 years. Yeah, you're right. Just for frame of reference, Patrick Willis is 50 on this list.
Yeah. I just didn't think. Yeah, Luke Kuechly is another one that comes to mind, but again,
short career,
super short career, but super dominant in there.
Yeah.
And then like even great linebackers now get cut pretty quick. I mean, Shaq Leonard, man, had one kind of bad. He had a bad. He
He's
had a
been
bad season
hurt a
last year.
lot.
Yeah, he's
He's
been
been
hurt.
hurt a lot since that contract. I think that's why he ended up getting cut.
Yeah.
I'll give you this freebie as well. One active guy on this list. Everybody else was retired. So I don't know if that helps or hurts, but
I mean, it doesn't necessarily do either. One active guy. Now you got me really curious who the active guy could be.
yeah, the active guy is number 14. Like he is, and
Throw
also
Barry in there.
bottom of the list. I did only the top 14 guys are the only 14 guys in NFL history with 1,000+ tackles. So our active guy just went past the 1,000 mark this season and put himself into this list.
Ooh, man, I'm trying to think of all-time defenses in that time frame, and I just like having a lot of safeties come to my mind, which is not. I feel like also not a good frame of reference. It's probably all linebackers or middle linebackers.
I don't want to give you too many free hints because then I'm
Yeah,
going to run out of hints for when you ask for them, and I'm going to fucking.
No, you're fine. Guy, it's like James Harrison here. Is he on this list?
James Harrison is not here.
Too much off the edge is probably my guess there.
I would assume so as well. Holy hell, I did not think he was going to be. He had a 15-year career. He's all the way down at 121.
Wow.
Which
I
is,
figured I thought longevity might get him here because he played for Cincinnati before he played for Pittsburgh.
yeah, he played for 15 years, 2002 to 2017.
Yeah.
Which is actually, he is tied with Troy Polamalu at that spot at 121.
Yeah, like names like that keep coming to my mind, but they're just not going to have the numbers. They're not volume guys.
Yeah, there are definitely some more all-time linebackers, I think, that you could get.
Brian Urlacher, he's got to be on here, right?
Urlacher is here. He is number 9 on the list.
Okay.
1,046
That's
tackles.
more than I thought he would be.
Oh, I don't want to do that. Never mind. How do I want to do this? I want to try to keep track of who the hell you got.
Yeah. Man. There's not a lot of great names coming to my mind that I feel like I could say with gusto that they would be on here.
Yeah, without, risking burning a strike early on. I'm going to give you one more free hint.
Okay.
Urlacher was drafted in 2000.
Okay.
Obviously, our active guy was drafted past 2000. Only one other guy was drafted past 2000. So everybody else was drafted in that, 95 to 2000 window. Almost every single one of them.
Really bad for me.
Unfortunate.
Is Bobby Wagner the active guy?
Bobby Wagner is not the active guy.
Okay, I'll live with that strike. That felt like an okay strike to take.
Yeah, he was he's number 17. He's at 960 tackles, so just 47 short of our bottom spot.
Man, it makes me want to. This is not a guess, but it makes me want to guess Fred Warner. But that just doesn't feel like he's pretty young too. He hasn't been doing it long.
He is on the younger side.
I'm gonna use a hint. I think I need a hint here.
Okay. God, so I will. This isn't the full hint, but to confirm your theory, 14 guys here. 12 of them are linebackers. 2 defensive backs here. So
wow.
You have 2 shots at it. I only know one of the defensive backs. The other guy was not a name that I recognize, but the name that I don't recognize did spend time with 2 teams in your division. So he played for 2 AFC East teams at a point in his career. No, it's not Rodney Harrison.
I didn't think it would be Rodney Harrison.
Yeah, I don't remember who else he played for, but I just wanted to put that out. I didn't want you to burn a strike there. 6 Hall of Famers, and funny enough, you've got 2 of them. There's 3 other guys that spent their entire careers with one team that are here. They actually all 3 played for the same team. So 3 of these guys played their entire careers for the same team, and it's the exact same team for all 3 guys. And that includes our active guy actually as well. So, yeah. If I don't know if you're able to nail it down, I don't want to give you the team because I think it'll definitely give the one away. And
I'm very tempted to use my last hint on you just giving me that team and that like clean me up with it, and
I
like
might. I mean, I would do that.
because I kind of I feel like I need that. So go ahead and give me that team.
It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have
Oh,
3 guys that their entire careers were played in Tampa
oh
that are
Jesus.
here. I'll even give you another free one. One of your 2 defensive backs was a Buccaneer his whole career. And you're
Is,
sitting there and
is it Rondé Barber?
Rondé effing Barber. It
Wow,
is.
that's
Number
the
10 on the list.
only
One,
Buccaneer that could come to my mind
yeah.
there.
1,044 tackles in his career. He's number 10.
Is Levante David there's no way he's the active guy. Really? Levante David's the active guy?
Levante David is our active guy, yes.
Crazy.
1,007 tackles.
If he didn't have a Madden X Factor, I'm not even sure I'd know who that
Yeah, right.
if we're being
Most
honest.
people are like, who the fuck is Levante David?
Yeah, gosh.
I know
One
Matty
more.
C's listening here. We're like, I'd trade for him, but he's 37, so I don't want him.
Oh God.
And
God.
I'd say your last Buccaneer that's sitting there is it is an all time,
Hmm.
like he's an all time linebacker in my opinion.
He probably was on that Bucs Super Bowl team, but I can't piece together who. Like, it's just my mind is coming completely blank on who it could be. Man, there's probably no Patriots here just because of.
There is, like I said, the DB played for you guys. It's not a name I recognize. I wouldn't spend a lot of time trying to think of him. There's a linebacker that did spend some time for New England. Not the team that I think of when I think of this guy,
Okay.
but he did make a stop in New England late in his career.
Junior Seau?
Junior Seau is that linebacker. Yes, it is.
Think of him with the Chargers. Yeah.
Yep. He is tied for the 7th spot at 1,077 tackles.
Gosh. Lawyer Malloy, is that the other D back here?
Wow. What a pull, my friend.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That is a great. I was like, that's the name that I did not expect you to get, but I was like, played for New England, played for, I think it was Miami
Buffalo.
too, or Buffalo, yeah.
Buffalo. Because, I think they cut him and then he went and signed with Buffalo, and Buffalo beat New England that very same week that he signed with them.
Props to you. I was like, that's the one name that I probably like did not recognize at all, but I was like, he did spend some time in New England. Maybe you pull this one.
That's why I thought that's when you said that, I was like, man, I wanted to say Lawrence Maroney, and I was like, that's the running back. I knew it was LM. I just didn't, just was going to take me a second to piece together. Man, Brooks. Oh God, his what's his first name? His Brooks is his last name. The Buccaneers linebacker is going to kill me. How many do I have right? And I've got 1 strike.
You have 6 right currently.
6 right.
6 right, 1 strike.
Okay.
4 left to get of 8 possible. So,
man, not a lot of names are coming to my mind. I would have guessed John Lynch if you didn't give me the DBs.
Yeah, you've got both DBs cleaned off the board now. You're dealing with linebackers only, and
it's such a bad category for me.
You are on the right trail with Brooks. If you can give me his first name,
it's something. It's like I can't remember what it is. I want to say is it Joey Brooks? That sounds wrong. It's
not Joey Brooks. Not a strike either.
It's Brooks. I know it's Brooks, but I can't remember. His first fucking name. Trying to think of other great middle linebackers. Junior Seau has kind of inspired me here.
He played off the edge a lot, didn't he? Let me look here.
Man, is Sam Mills? That's another guy I'm thinking of, but like that timeline could be off. Sam Mills.
Well, I guess he did play a lot of middle linebacker. I thought he was more of an edge guy.
Who?
Well, I can't tell you the name because he's still sitting there.
I thought you were talking about someone we already had talked about.
No.
I'm gonna guess, is Sam Mills one of the guys?
Sam Mills is not one of our guys here.
Too old, probably.
Yeah, right? I think so because he's not sitting on my list at all. So I would assume he was before '94.
Yeah. Okay. It's the time frame that's like really just like constricted my thinking.
Yeah, there's a surprising name on here. I'd say 2 journeymen made this list. Like, 2 guys, or I guess he only played for 4. One guy played for 4, was like bounced around the league throughout the early 2000s, early 2010s and the 2000s. Um,
Okay.
Another guy that played for 5 teams makes this list. There is, I think, in the Madden terms, all-time middle linebacker that played for most of his career in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel like should be a name that comes to your head, maybe.
Zach Taylor, is he
Zach
here?
Taylor. Is it Zach Taylor?
It's
No.
not Zach Taylor. It's oh
Not
gosh, Zach Thomas. That's what it is.
Zach Thomas. Yes,
Zach
I was like,
Thomas.
not Zach Taylor.
Not Zach Taylor. That's the head coach for the Bengals. Zach Thomas is that. He wore 54 for the Dolphins.
Yes, he did. That is 7 correct.
Okay.
2 strikes.
2 strikes. I've used all my hands. I had another. Man, I'm okay going out on it. Is Jonathan Vilma here?
Jonathan Vilma is not here.
Okay. How far off is he? He might be pretty far off. He didn't have a very long career with the Jets.
Yeah, he played 04 to 13. He's down at 103 on the list, 617 tackles.
Okay, I'm happy with getting that's more than I would have thought I would have pulled out. I mean, you gave me a lot of leash there, but I'm happy with that outcome.
7 correct. Not bad. Not a bad list. 7 for 10. To run you through this list here, you got our number 1 guy, Ray Lewis, at 1. The guy that everybody always brings up anytime somebody tries to discredit Ray Lewis is number 2, London Fletcher. Number 2 on the tackles list.
Yeah, that's an obvious one I kind of missed. Yeah.
The one, and I didn't know if he was obvious to everybody. I knew it was obvious to me because, again, anytime I say he's the best, they're like, London Fletcher is literally just as good. And I'm like, you're fucking high, firstly.
The problem for me is I thought of great defenses, and you didn't like London Fletcher was a great defensive player, but wasn't never on a great
never a part of a legendary defense.
And that's the advantage Ray Lewis will always have over him long term is that fact.
And I think it's the aura of it too. Like there is something because like if you put the blind stats next to each other, you might pick London Fletcher 50 out of 50 times. If I put just the names next to each other, 100 out of 100 times. And it's because of
it's close. Like I could see how some people would like it, but yeah, it's
like
the aura around
it's the name value. Yeah, it's the I'd rather not get murdered off or on the field. But Derek Brooks was your famous Tampa Bay linebacker.
Gosh, I knew it was Brooks.
You did. You had the last name. And if you would have done worse, I might have given it to you for getting his last name, truthfully. But 7 out of 10, pretty damn good. Donnie Edwards, number 4.
Never would have gotten that.
Never heard of Donnie Edwards 4. Zach Thomas at 5. 6 is Keith Brooking.
No idea.
Didn't know who Keith Brooking was. Carlos Dansby was one of our journeymen, spent 4 times. Number 7 on this list, Carlos Dansby. Does that name ring a bell to you?
No.
I remember him bouncing around a lot in the early 2000s, played in Cleveland and Miami a little bit. Seau at 8, Urlacher at 9, Rondé Barber at 10. You cleaned out the middle of this list. Lawyer Malloy at 11. Takeo Spikes at 12, plus 1,000 tackles.
Takeo Spikes, great Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, played for 5 teams. Not a guy I'd expect to be one of the 14 guys in NFL history over 1,000 tackles.
Was definitely in Buffalo. I do remember him.
Yeah. James Ferrier played for the Jets and then part of those Pittsburgh defenses in 08 and 2010.
Yeah, I figured I was missing a Pittsburgh. I was like, there has to be a Pittsburgh linebacker.
Yeah, I was surprised to see how far down Harrison and Polamalu were, all the way down at like 121.
I mean, Polamalu is a free safety, so like safeties just aren't going to see the tackle volume.
But, yeah, it's also like if there's ever an epitome of a in the box safety,
that's true.
Yeah, Ed Reed all the way down to 166. I was just curious. I had to look at that.
Yeah,
and then,
like Bob Sanders is another guy I would have thought about, but Bob Sanders was good for a very short period.
Yeah, who's the first DB off the list? I think it's Charles Woodson, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, he's number 15, 997. He just missed 1,000 before he retired. And then Levante David is our active guy, number 14, rounds out our list of plus 1,000 tackles in NFL history.
That's wild. Levante David is on that list.
I knew that one was going to be a little difficult because I was like, he's definitely going to go Bobby Wagner first. Sure enough.
Yeah, it's got. You think all time line, like you say, who's the greatest active linebacker? I mean,
if you ask,
say Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, if you asked me to pick who I thought had more tackles, I would have picked Bobby Wagner. I wouldn't have picked Levante David first.
Well, Levante David might not even have made my top 5. Like, genuinely, like
fair.
Like, no disrespect to him. It's just it's a position I don't know a ton about, right? Like, it's not the most exciting to be like bringing on our middle linebacker expert today. Like
Yeah,
this guy
it's fair.
loves middle linebackers. So
I wonder how many would I have gotten? I would have gotten those two. Definitely three. Like I feel like I'm only like 100% certain I would have gotten 4 or 5 of them, and then I would have been
yeah,
stuck guessing.
yeah. I mean, it's funny too because you say like certain guys like, oh, this guy played in Cleveland, and I remember like so weird, but I'll remember Laura Malloy forever, and I'll
Yeah,
remember
like
Zach
that's
Thomas, and I'll because I
yeah,
watched Laura Malloy, like I watched Laura Malloy play when he was a Patriot. I watched us play against Laura Malloy. I watched Zach Thomas for years, 2 times a year. Like there's just certain
yeah, it's true.
guys that like click. Like whenever people don't like respect Jason Taylor, I'm like, Jason Taylor was a dog. Like dude was
Yeah,
good. Like I don't know why Miami was so bad for so many years because you look at those teams, you go, yeah, they had that guy was pretty good. That
they
guy
had
is also
two
pretty good.
all-time defenders there for
Yeah,
that whole time.
and they could not like they just couldn't get it together. So
Yeah, couldn't stop anybody. Couldn't stop Tom Brady. That's for damn sure.
well, they did stop Tom Brady quite a bit because I felt like, up,
That's
we're
fair.
playing in Miami. We're probably gonna lose this one. It just felt that way all the time.
You lose, you split with Miami and win a Super Bowl every year. I think you're pretty okay with it.
I'm okay with that, as long as we don't lose to the damn Jets. That's all I care about.
That's very fair. Very, very fair. All right, you ready to dive into the rest of this show here?
Yeah, let's do some pump the brakes here.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I figured no bottom line this week. Why not do some pump the brakes? At the beginning of next episode, we're gonna do headlines and our bets as we normally do. So these are kind of gonna be a little bit separate topics. You know what I mean? Maybe the headlines are stuff we definitely want to dive a little bit deeper into, whereas
Yeah,
pump the brakes, we don't have to necessarily spend as much time on. Um,
true.
my first one for you: the Colts could be a playoff team.
You know, I'd call you crazy, but um, I don't think you are, truthfully.
They
Um,
are, I believe, a game out right now.
yeah, I wish it would show me the whole damn division. I hate when it does that.
What?
Hey, let me show me the NFL standings. Okay, here it is split up by division, but I'm
Oh
not
no,
going to show
no.
you.
If you click playoffs in the next tab, it'll show you. But they're
Okay,
seventh. They are in the playoffs right now.
they are currently the 7th seed, huh?
They're currently in the 7th seed.
Well,
And they have played better than I thought. Like as somebody who doesn't love Gardner Minshew like you love Gardner Minshew, he has been a serviceable backup. Like winning games that not only he should win, but winning games I don't necessarily think they should have won.
holy hell, the Colts are going to make the playoffs. That's insane. I'm gonna have to not pump the brakes. Like when I look at the field here, and if I had to predict like who's gonna jump up 2 spots, who's gonna fall the 2 spots, this, that, and the other, like
Yeah. Let me even I'll do you a favor here. Let me run you through their next couple weeks here. They are at Tennessee,
okay,
at Cincinnati. Both of those teams are questionable at quarterback. The
yep.
Steelers, which is probably a loss, honestly. At Atlanta, they play the Raiders at home, and then they play the Texans the last week of the season. That could be for a wild card spot. Like that could be a wild card. Somehow the AFC West always finds a way to be like, or the AFC South, they're always like, hey, how about we make the last game of the year for a playoff spot, guys?
Yeah, and honestly, like Jacksonville has not looked as good as we thought, and if they stumble at the wrong time, that game might be for the division if Jacksonville stumbles because they're only like 2 games up. They're 8-3, and
Yeah.
the Colts and the Texans are vying right around 6-5
If I
apiece.
am not mistaken, the Jacksonville Jaguars have a
Also an
somewhat
easy road.
similar run here. Yeah, I mean they
Fair.
they have Cincinnati next week, which is an easy win. I mean, I hate to say that, but like it's not necessarily an easy win, but it should be a win for a team like that.
For the way that Cincinnati looked after 10 days of prep with Jake Browning last week, 100% should be an easy win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk more about the Bengals in a second.
You have the Browns, which again is such a dominant defense that yeah, you want to say they could be in it, but like that team might play Joe Flacco at some point.
Yeah, and they're gonna lose to Joe Flacco. God damn it! I'll tell you that I was never more heartbroken than looking at the picture of him in a Browns hoodie with all the Browns logos on the backdrop behind him. I was like, "What does this world come to?" God
Yeah,
damn it!
yeah.
Haven't I suffered enough?
Really, really, their hardest game is they play the Ravens, but they have the Ravens at home. and then it's Bucks, Panthers, Tennessee to kind of finish that run out. So
Yeah, and as far as Baltimore goes, they like I wouldn't say they're going to get a bad version of Baltimore, but Baltimore also has San Fran and I think it's like Dallas or somebody else really good stacked up around that Jacksonville game.
yeah,
So like
they're going to be
I
coming off a hard stretch for sure.
yeah, Baltimore's got a very hard 3 to 4 week stretch there where like they might be able to catch Baltimore lacking, especially when they play them at home. So I do think the Colts are going to make the playoffs. I'm curious to see if the Steelers can maintain any success because I thought for sure, that was the team that was going to come back to earth. They let go of Matt Canada and immediately put up 400 yards of offense. So anything's possible with that team at this point. I don't think they're talented enough where they should really make the playoffs, but their offense in the first game after getting Matt Canada looked almost 10 times better than what it had. And outside of that, like trying to predict somebody to fall out, like
I think Cleveland would be the team if there was a team, right?
I
Like,
think one of those two AFC North teams falls out, and then I think
yeah.
the Texans and the Colts are probably the two teams that slip at that point.
I think another team is going to sneak in there.
It's
But
hard to count the Broncos out, and then of course when you look at the 10 seed, we're going to talk about them. But
yeah. Yeah, it's I think there's going to be another team that sneaks kind of back up in there. But all right. The Seahawks need to trade for a QB this offseason. Either trade or sign a new QB this offseason. I think the Geno Smith is kind of run has come to an end.
yeah, I don't know really what happened, from last year to this year. If it was just
He's been hurt a decent amount, I think.
maybe the teams didn't have the tape or whatever it was, or like maybe he was just playing with this uber level of confidence that's kind of died down on him. I don't know how their offensive line's been. I feel like it's not great because I couldn't name you a single effing guy on their O line, and this is a guy that plays Madden and trades for every good offensive lineman possible. I couldn't name you one, truthfully. So maybe that's something attributing to it. I do think that they definitely need to start having a plan. Like if it's not personally, I would look for a new starter, right? Whether it's trying to sign Kirk Cousins, maybe if you move up in the draft and go draft somebody. I am definitely looking at the second and third round. What quarterback slipped? I'm probably going to try to take that guy, unless on the 1%, 0.5% chance that you really think Drew Lock might be the guy. I wouldn't bank on that, but if you're really feeling that confident in it, I do think that Geno's probably should be done after this year. If not, the replacement needs to be in house, or like there's got to be some type of a plan
Yeah.
because he's definitely not the answer past next year.
And I will say, I think the other part of it too is like Kenneth Walker's health has been somewhat hit or miss this year.
Seattle cannot keep a healthy running back. Chris Carson, Rashad Penny, now Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet has been banged up here and there, but also I love watching Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet highlights. Like a lot of teams, they like to pair a little bit of a pop with some speed, right? You like give me Raheem Mostert and like give me LeGarrette Blount, right? I'm gonna run past you and then I'm gonna run through you. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet are like, you know what? We're both just gonna fucking run through you. But how about I'm gonna put your face mask in the goddamn dirt and get an extra 4 yards while dragging you my feet? I
Yeah.
love watching them run the ball when healthy. But that's the big asterisk, when healthy.
Yeah, they're an interesting team. Like some of these pieces just hasn't aged as well as you kind of like. I think DK Metcalf, we kind of considered him to be like, oh, this elite one, like this guy is, a next level guy, and he's good. Like I just he's one of those wide receivers. He's really tough to classify, right? Like,
Yeah, I think when you look at the top two classes of receivers, there are like your bona fide ones that are ones with Gardner Minshew, right? Like with any quarterback you throw back there, they're going to get theirs. They are the guy, right? Tyreek Hill is up there. I think AJ Brown has kind of entered that category this year. Stephon Diggs, maybe like guys, it doesn't matter who's under center, who's in the shotgun. These guys are going to get theirs. And then there's these guys that are also still ones, but they kind of have to have a quarterback that is succeeding to really reach into this group. And right now, with Geno not playing his best football, DK Metcalf is really stuck in this group and can't jump over into that the very top tier,
Yeah, and you would have hoped for more, right? Like
I would
Tyler
agree, yeah.
Lockett, like again, the way Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf looked with Russell Wilson has been a completely different story this year. Like I wouldn't be shocked if they try to move one of these guys and the Chiefs tries to go and get like a guy like DK Metcalf, because
Yeah.
that's honestly the best case scenario for a guy like DK.
Agreed.
Is he needs to be in a situation with a good stable quarterback, and JSN honestly has been a disappointing rookie year for him as well.
Yeah, he's been a bit banged up too.
Yeah, it's
But I
hard for
knew
him to get on the field too.
he wasn't going to hit the ground sprinting because again, he has two established guys. Like he has a freak of nature as the one and probably one of the better twos in our league, at least for half the season, right? When Tyler Lockett's on, he's a one, right? Like Tyler Lockett in those 4 to 5 games when he goes for 30 fantasy points, you're like, wow, thanks. You're on my bench because you have a 30 combined in the last 6 weeks, right? Like him coming in, it was going to be tough being banged up. I'm willing to try to let him grow, but definitely a disappointment so far. Also, just to rub into Chiefs fans, Brett Veach drafted McCall Hardman before DK Metcalf. That's besides the point. Yeah, the Seahawks have taken a little bit of a step back. I think Geno is definitely part of the issue at this point and probably need to look towards the replacement going forward.
Yeah, that's wild. Tyler Lockett been over 1,000 yards the last 4 seasons. He's not on pace to hit it this year.
Pretty
So
damn good for a
he's
two.
only at 575 this year. So this would be the first time in 4 seasons.